Day 6 of the Iran-US war, and tonight the signals from Washington are unmistakably strategic. Off the California coast, the United States has test-fired one of the most powerful weapons in its nuclear arsenal, the Minuteman III, often called the Doomsday missile. At the same time, Iran's shahed drone swarms are exposing a serious vulnerability in American air defenses across the Middle East. Cheap drones forcing the world's most powerful military to fire million-dollar interceptors. And now the war may be widening after an Iranian frigate was sunk near Sri Lanka and Tehran claims it has retaliated by striking an American oil tanker. All this and more, stay tuned. This is your War Dispatch Day 6. First up, the biggest development on Day 6 is the United States military test launching its nuclear-capable Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile off the California coast. Now, Washington insists that the launch was pre-scheduled, part of routine readiness testing, but the timing, right in the middle of an escalating war with Iran, has inevitably shaken global nerves. So what exactly is the Minuteman III, often referred to as the Doomsday missile? It is a nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile equipped with a Mark 21 high-fidelity re-entry vehicle. The missile has a range of 6,000 miles and travels at a speed exceeding 15,000 miles per hour. According to reports, the Minuteman III can carry nuclear warheads with explosive power up to 20 times greater than the Hiroshima atomic bomb. In practical terms, that means that it can strike targets almost anywhere on Earth. So why is this test important right now? Because the message behind it is unmistakable: deterrence. With American military sites across the Middle East under repeated fire, Washington appears to be signaling to Tehran that the escalation has limits. But behind closed doors, US officials are also acknowledging a growing concern. During a closed-door briefing on Capitol Hill, Trump administration officials reportedly told lawmakers that Iran's drone campaign is proving far more effective than initially expected. Iran's shahed drones fly very low and slow, a combination that makes them harder to detect and intercept than high-speed ballistic missiles. One source who's familiar with the briefing said officials attempted to reassure lawmakers by pointing out that Gulf allies have been stockpiling the interceptors. Still, the assessment is clear. Iran's drones are complicating the battlefield for US forces across the region. And that brings us to Iran's evolving battlefield strategy. The shahed drones, often described as the poor man's cruise missile, are becoming the backbone of Tehran's retaliation. They are cheap, relatively simple to manufacture, and easy to deploy in large numbers. But intercepting them is extremely expensive. While each drone may cost a fraction of a conventional missile, the interceptor missiles used to shoot them down can cost millions of dollars each. Thousands of long-range Shahed 136 drones have already been launched towards American positions and regional allies, and many are getting through. Just today, the UAE's Defense Ministry reported that one missile and 6 drones fell inside the country. Earlier, Abu Dhabi said 6 people were injured by falling debris from drones intercepted by air defense systems. Meanwhile, Azerbaijan, Qatar, Bahrain, several other Gulf states have also faced Iranian drone activity. Yet, many drones have been intercepted, but Tehran may still be winning an important strategic battle, because every drone shot down forces the US and its allies to spend vastly more money on air defense interceptors. Some defense analysts warn that in a war of attrition, Iran could use large drone swarms to gradually exhaust regional air defenses, opening the door to more destructive attacks later. Well, and beyond the battlefield, the constant threat, of course, is of the drone storms, also creating a steady psychological strain on civilian populations across the Gulf. The war may now be expanding into new waters also. Iran is furious after the US submarine torpedoed and sank the Iranian frigate Iris Dena in the Indian Ocean off the southern coast of Sri Lanka. Now, according to reports, 87 people were killed in the attack. The incident has effectively expanded the war zone way beyond the Middle East, pushing the conflict deep into the Indian Ocean. Tehran quickly vowed retaliation. Soon after the sinking, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed it had struck an American oil tanker with a missile in the northern Persian Gulf, sparking a fire on board. According to the IRGC-linked Tasnim news agency, Iran has now issued a sweeping warning. Tehran says American, Israeli, European and allied commercial or military vessels will not be allowed to transit the waterway and will be targeted if they are detected there. Remember, since the outbreak of war with the United States and Israel, Iran has effectively closed strategic Strait of Hormuz. And that choke point carries roughly a fifth of the world's oil supply. Meanwhile, back in Washington, the war is also triggering political tremors. A bipartisan resolution aimed at limiting President Donald Trump's ability to wage war in Iran has failed in the US Senate. The war powers measure was rejected in a 53-47 vote, largely along party lines. The resolution would have halted US military action in Iran without explicit congressional approval, but that's not to be. Democrats argue that the president has sidestepped Congress and offered shifting explanations for the Iran war. Most Republicans, of course, blocked the measure, but some lawmakers signaled that they could reconsider their stance if the conflict expands further in the coming weeks. And that possibility now appears very, very real, because according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, the war could last as long as 8 weeks, almost double the timeline that the president suggested just a few days ago. For now, there is no clear off-ramp in sight, and with missiles, drones, submarines and oil routes now in play, the Iran-US war is entering a far more dangerous phase. From the Persian Gulf to the Indian Ocean, the battlefield is expanding, and as both sides dig in, the question is no longer whether this conflict escalates, but how far it spreads. We'll track every move for you. This is your War Dispatch, Day 6.